So recently, a clip is going viral when Sam Altman loses his cool when asked for OpenAI's revenue. When investor Brad Gerstner asked him a simple question about OpenAI's revenue versus their massive spending, Altman's response was, "Enough is enough." Everything was going smooth until Brad asked the question everyone's been whispering about. How can a company with $13 billion in revenue make $1.4 trillion in spend commitments? And then Sam got triggered. To be honest, I have never seen Sam Altman this furious before. Now let's take a look.
With all that said, OpenAI's revenues are still a reported $13 billion in 2025. And Sam, on your live stream this week, you talked about this massive commitment to compute, right? 1.4 trillion over the next 4 or 5 years with, big commitments, 500 million to NVIDIA, 300 million to AMD and Oracle, 250 billion to Azure. So I think the single biggest question I've heard all week and hanging over the market is how can the company with 13 billion in revenues make 1.4 trillion of spend commitments? And you've heard the criticism,
First
Sam.
of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all, Brad, if you want to sell your shares, I'll find you a buyer. I just enough. People are. I think there's a lot of people who would love to buy OpenAI shares. I don't think you would,
including myself. Including myself.
People who talk with a lot of breathless concern about our compute stuff or whatever that would be thrilled to buy shares. So I think we could sell your shares or anybody else's to some of the people who are making the most noise on Twitter, whatever, about this very quickly. We do plan for revenue to grow steeply. Revenue is growing steeply. We are taking a forward bet that it's going to continue to grow, and that not only will ChatGPT keep growing, but we will be able to become one of the important AI clouds, that our consumer device business will be a significant and important thing, that AI that can automate science will create huge value. So, there are not many times that I want to be a public company, but one of the rare times it's appealing is when those people are writing these ridiculous OpenAI is about to go out of business and, whatever. I would love to tell them they could just short the stock, and I would love to see them get burned on that. But we carefully plan. We understand where the technology, where the capability is going to go, and how the products we can build around that and the revenue we can generate. We might screw it up. This is the bet that we're making, and we're taking a risk along with that. A certain risk is if we don't have the compute, we will not be able to generate the revenue or make the models at this kind of scale.
Exactly. And
let me just say one thing, Brad, as both a partner and an investor. There is not been a single business plan that I've seen from OpenAI that they're put in and not beaten it. So in some sense, this is the one place where, in terms of their growth and just even the business, it's been unbelievable execution, quite frankly. I mean, obviously, OpenAI, everyone talks about all the success and the usage and what have you. But even, I'd say all up, the business execution has been just pretty unbelievable.
I heard Greg Brockman say...
So he's basically saying, if you don't believe in OpenAI's future, get out, because plenty of others are dying to buy in. Now, let's talk numbers, because this is where things gets wild. OpenAI reportedly generates around $13 billion annually, mostly from ChatGPT Plus subscriptions and API usage. But Microsoft's earnings reports recently showed OpenAI lost around $11.5 billion last quarter. So yeah, people are asking the obvious question, because when your company's planning to spend $1.4 trillion, while the internet thinks you're barely making $13 billion a year, people are gonna ask some questions. Altman claims those $13 billion numbers are way off, and that OpenAI's real revenue is much higher, but he didn't disclose the actual number. And that's exactly what's driving everyone crazy. Because when you're burning through billions building supercomputers for AGI, but won't share the real numbers, people start wondering if the AI boom is actually an AI bubble. And now, let's talk about OpenAI, and Amazon's $38 billion cloud computing deal. This partnership means OpenAI will now use AWS compute power to scale agentic workloads, the kind of systems that can think, reason, and act semi-autonomously. They plan to deploy all this capacity before 2026, with options to expand beyond 2027. It's part of OpenAI's massive roadmap spending over $1 trillion in the next decade on computing infrastructure, data centers, and advanced chips from NVIDIA, AMD, and Broadcom. All this while freeing themselves from Microsoft's exclusive control. So here's my question for you. Is Sam Altman justified in getting frustrated with these questions? Or should the CEO of the world's most valuable AI company be more transparent about the financials? Let me know in comments, and if you are new on this channel, subscribe for more news and updates on AI.